T began with the signal. At 2:13 a.m., inside Earth's Deep Space Command Center, alarms started flashing. A strange, broken transmission was coming through one of the long-range satellites near the edge of the Andromeda Passage. Technicians rushed to their stations, trying to decode the noise. At first, it sounded like random static, but then a voice came through. It was weak, trembling, and definitely not human. "Please, help us. They are coming. We can't stop them." Everyone in the command room froze. The passage was short, but it repeated every 2 minutes. It was coming from a planet known in the old star maps as Valari Prime, a world thought to be long abandoned. The Valari were a peaceful species, known for art and science, not war. They had vanished. Almost 100 years ago, their cities left silent. Many believed they had been wiped out by their own technology. But now, a voice from the dead was begging for help. General Ward, a tall man with silver hair and sharp eyes, stood quietly as the message played again. Around him, his officers whispered among themselves. Some wanted to ignore the call. Others were afraid. No one had seen or heard of the Valari in decades. What kind of force could be strong enough to bring them to their knees? The general didn't speak. T walked to the large window, looking out at Earth's orbit where black silhouettes of human warships floated in silence. Earth was no longer a weak planet. Not anymore. After surviving 3 alien invasions, a machine uprising, and the collapse of the Solar Treaty, humanity had become something new. Strong, ready, dangerous. In the old days, Earth would have sent scientists, diplomats, maybe even prayers. But now, it had something better. A fleet. In the next few hours, the Council of Earth met in a hidden chamber beneath Antarctica. 12 leaders from every nation, now united, sat around a large round table. They reviewed the signal. They listened to it over and over. They asked questions. What if it was a trap? What if this enemy would come for Earth next? Commander Vera, head of the Earth Defense Navy, stood and spoke with a calm but firm voice. If we wait, they'll die. And if this enemy is strong enough to wipe out the Valar, then it won't stop there. There was silence. Then, after a long pause, the decision was made. Earth would respond, but not with words. X hours later, hangars across the moon opened. Giant black ships, glowing with blue lights, came to life. The EDS Hammerfall, the pride of Earth's fleet, powered up its engines. Its captain, Vera, walked across the command deck in full uniform. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with purpose. She remembered the time when Earth had begged for help and no one had answered. The silence back then had been a lesson. Now, it was someone else crying out in the dark. And Earth had the power to respond. As the fleet left orbit, citizens across Earth watched from screens. Some were afraid, some proud, and some whispered the same question. Should we answer or watch them fall? The decision had already been made. Across the stars, the human fleet moved like shadows. No music played, no speeches were given, just cold engines, precise orders, and a rising storm heading straight toward Valari Prime. Commander Vera sat in her chair, watching the stars streak past. In her hand was the small crystal drive that held the alien message. T, she played it one more time. Quietly, please. Help us. They are coming. She closed her eyes for a moment, and then she gave the order. All ships prepare for war. The journey to Valari Prime took 3 days through hyperspace. The stars outside the windows looked calm, but inside the human fleet, tension was growing. No one knew what they would find when they arrived. Would the planet still be standing, or would it be too late? Commander Vera stood on the bridge of the EDS Hammerfall, watching her crew work. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Darnell, walked beside her holding a report. Scanners picking up strange energy near Valari space. He said quietly, "Something powerful. Unnatural." Vera nodded, but said nothing. She had learned long ago, war was not about loud words, it was about quiet decisions. Behind her, dozens of young officers watched screens, read sensor data, and prepared weapons. Most of them had never seen real battle. Okay, they had trained in simulators, studied Earth's past wars, and dreamed of glory. But now, they were flying into the unknown, toward a planet crying for help, and maybe already lost. The fleet exited hyperspace just outside the Valari system. The moment they dropped back into normal space, everyone gasped. The planet was on fire. Valari Prime looked broken. Its one-screen surface was covered in black scars. Cities had been turned to ash. Large glowing rifts ran across the land like open wounds. Above the planet, strange ships hovered, huge and dark, with long limbs like metal spiders. They moved slowly, feeding on the planet's energy like parasites. "They're draining the core," whispered Darnell. "They're killing the planet from the inside." Vera narrowed her eyes. She had never seen ships like these before. They didn't broadcast signals. They didn't speak. They simply hovered and destroyed. And then, something happened. From one of the ruined cities, a weak signal appeared on the fleet's communication channel. It was the same voice from before, but now weaker, slower. "This is Valari Command. Survivors in Sector 12. Enemy unstoppable. Please, any help?" The signal ended with a sharp noise, like something had cut it off. Vera turned to her crew. "Sector 12. We're going in." The fleet moved fast. Fighters launched from carriers. Shields came online. Weapons charged. The silence of space was about to break. As they entered orbit, the enemy ships turned. For the first time, they reacted. They had noticed the humans. One of the giant spider-like ships began to move toward the Hammerfall. They didn't use missiles or lasers. It just pointed a strange black beam at the ship. The lights on the command deck flickered. "They're trying to shut us down," yelled an engineer. Vera didn't panic. She gave one cold, sharp order: "Fire all cannons." The Hammerfall's weapons lit up space with blue fire. The first shots hit the enemy ship, and to everyone's shock, it cracked open. It didn't explode like a normal ship. It folded like a dying insect and fell into the planet below. Cheers erupted from the bridge, but Vera didn't smile. "If one falls, more will come," she said. "We haven't won yet." The fleet split into two groups. One stayed in orbit to fight the enemy swarm. The other, led by Vera herself, dropped through the atmosphere toward the surface of Valari Prime. Flames and smoke covered the sky. Buildings were crumbling. Strange machines crawled across the ground, hunting survivors. It was a nightmare, but Earth's warships cut through the chaos like knives. In the ruins of Sector 12, Vera's team found them dozens of Valari, hiding underground in broken shelters. Their leader was an old alien with silver skin and glowing blue eyes. "You came," he whispered. "Didn't think anyone would." Vera knelt beside him. "We heard your message, right? And we brought our answer." High above them, in orbit, Earth's ships were holding the line, but barely. The enemy had more reinforcements coming in from deep space. The real battle was only beginning, but now the galaxy knew one thing for sure: Earth had come, and Earth was ready to fight. The mountain shelter was quiet now. The wounded Valari lay resting, guarded by Earth's soldiers, who walked the cold halls with heavy boots and alert eyes. Outside, the ash had settled. For the first time in weeks, the air on Valari Prime was still. But peace never lasted long. Inside the old control room, Commander Vera stood with her officers around a glowing map. Red dots were appearing all over the screen. Enemy ships, dozens of them. No signals, no warnings, just movement. They're not retreating, Lieutenant Darnell said. They're regrouping, preparing for something bigger. Vera nodded slowly. They know we're here now, and they don't like it. Suddenly, the lights flickered again, just like they had on the Hammerfall during the first attack. An eerie hum filled the room. It was low, like a sound you could feel in your bones. Then, all the red dots disappeared. Did we lose them? One officer asked, confused. No, Vera replied. They cloaked themselves. They're coming. Before anyone could speak again, an explosion shook the side of the mountain. Dust rained from the ceiling. Soldiers rushed to their positions. Alarms screamed. They're here. Someone shouted. Outside, the sky had turned dark. Not from clouds, but from ships. Strange enemy crafts, shaped like jagged blades, hovered above the valley, silent, watching, waiting. Then they attacked. Energy blasts tore through the cliffs. Earth's surface cannons returned fire, lighting up the mountainside in blue and red. Fighters launched from hidden hangars, zipping through the sky like angry wasps. But the enemy was faster this time, smarter. The aliens weren't just destroying buildings anymore. They were targeting people, chasing survivors, crashing through defenses, hunting. In the center of it all, Vera led her squad into the fire. Her rifle glowed hot from overuse, but she didn't stop. Every time she pulled the trigger, another machine fell. She moved like a storm cold, focused, fearless. Cover the med teams, she shouted. Protect the civilians. Behind her, one of the Valari leaders, a young woman named Sorrel, watched in amazement. You fight like them, she whispered. No, Vera said as she reloaded. We fight better, but it wasn't enough. A massive enemy walker, a four-legged monster made of black metal, broke through the west ridge. Its weapon systems spun to life. One blast, and half the wall would be gone. The humans aimed every cannon they had at it, but it kept coming. Then, just as the walker charged its main gun, something unexpected happened. From deep beneath the base, the old Valari tech came online. A hum echoed through the mountain, and blue light filled the tunnels. The old city Corwans thought dead had awakened. Aya, and it was angry. Pillars of energy shot up from the ground, striking the walker with blinding force. The machine screamed in some unnatural sound as its armor cracked. Then it exploded, falling in pieces across the valley. Everyone stopped. Vera looked at Sarah. You still have power, she said. Sarah's eyes were wide. We thought it was gone. We gave up. Then it's time to stop giving up, Vera said. We just proved something today. What? That Earth doesn't come to die, Vera replied. It comes to teach others how to fight back. As more human ships arrived from orbit, the tide of battle turned. But this wasn't the end. The enemy would come again, stronger, smarter, and next time, angrier. But now, they weren't just fighting the Valari. They were fighting Earth. And Earth never forgets. Earth never forgives. Earth always answers. For a while, there was silence. After the last explosion faded, only the sound of wind remained. Soldiers stood still. Valari survivors peeked out from bunkers and tunnels. They couldn't believe what they had just seen. Humans and Valari, side by side, stopping a nightmare together. But Commander Vera knew this was not the end. It was only a pause. The destroyed alien walker lay broken across the rocky ground, still glowing with strange dark energy. Vera walked up to it, slowly, her boots crunching over burnt soil. She stared at the twisted metal, then tapped her gum. Scan it, she ordered. I want to know everything about how it moves, how it fights, and how we break more of them. Science officer Lieutenant Naya replied. already on it, Commander. But this thing isn't just metal. There's something alive inside. Vera narrowed her eyes. Explain. We're detecting faint biosigns, like nerves or muscles, mixed with machines. It's not just a robot. It's part living thing. Vera didn't speak for a long time. Back in the underground shelter, the Valari Queen waited. She was weak, sitting in a tall chair made from old crystal. Her eyes were half closed, but she was listening to every word. When Vera entered the room, the Queen slowly raised her hand. "You've fought them now," the Queen said, "and you've seen how they work. Do you understand what we are facing?" Vera nodded. "They're not a normal enemy. There's something older, something worse." The Queen's voice was soft, but full of pain. "They are the Aetheron swarm. They do not speak. They do not take prisoners. Speed on energy planets, people, even time. They are not here to conquer. They are here to erase. And they'll come again," Vera said. "With more." The Queen looked away. "Yes, we thought we could run from them, hide, but there's no place safe." Vera stepped forward. "You tried to hide. We don't. We hit back." That night, inside the mountain base, the human engineers worked with Valari scientists. Repaired old defense towers. Upgraded weapons. They connected Earth systems with ancient Valari tech crystals, energy conduits, and strange floating orbs that hummed when touched. Lieutenant Naya found a hidden chamber deep underground. Inside, old Valari war machines stood in silence, tall, glowing, and shaped like armored giants. "These are battle guardians," a Valari technician explained. "We haven't used them in 100 years. We never needed them." "Well," Naya said, wiping dust off one, "now you do." Above the planet, Earth's orbiting fleet had grown. More ships had arrived, destroyers, cruisers, and carriers. The EDS Lionheart, a legendary battleship, took its place beside the Hammerfall. The captains saluted each other from their bridges. Earth wasn't just sending help anymore. It was preparing for war. Soon, scouts detected more enemy signals far off on the edge of the system. The Aetheron swarm was gathering again, bigger this time, smarter. They had studied the humans. Now they were adapting back on the surface. Vera stood before her soldiers. Human and Valari fighters were lined up together, side by side. "You all saw what we faced," she said. Her voice echoed in the hangar. "You all know what's coming next." She looked at the young Valari holding a rifle with shaking hands, at the human medics treating alien children, at the pilots sitting beside their new Valari co-pilots, studying maps and air routes. "We're not just here to defend the world," she said. "We're here to show them that we do not run, we do not beg. When someone asks Earth for help, we don't send a message, we send a fleet." The hangar erupted in cheers. Above them, the stars were moving. Dozens of new enemy signals were entering the system. The sky darkened again. Not from smoke this time, but from shadows. The Aetheron swarm had returned. This time, they brought a mothership larger than a moon. It moved slowly, like a beast, too big to care. Behind it, thousands of smaller ships followed. The sky shimmered with dark energy. Earth's war fleet formed a line. On the surface, Valari guardians came to life. Their eyes glowed blue. Their arms moved like machines, just waking from long sleep. And Commander Vera raised her head toward the heavens. "Let them come." She stepped into her command chair, sealed her helmet, and gave one final order. "All units defend the line. For Valari, for Earth, for everyone who can't fight back." And then the stars caught fire. The second battle for Valari had begun. 2 weeks had passed since the battle for Valari Prime. The fires had died. The ash had settled. The dead had been buried beneath flags, some marked with Earth's eagle, others with the glowing crest of the Valari. But the war had not ended. Earth's fleet remained in orbit. Patrols ran day and night. Satellites scanned deep space. Everyone waited for another wave, another swarm, another sign that the Ithran were returning. So far, nothing came, but that silence was not peace. It was a warning. In the rebuilt mountain base, Commander Vera stood in the new command center. Holograms hovered around her battle maps, fleet positions, and strange alien patterns taken from the remains of the Ithran mothership. Her face looked calm, but her eyes held a fire that hadn't faded. She had become a symbol, now just for Earth, but for the galaxy. The woman who didn't run. The soldier who didn't break. The commander who answered the dying world's call with warships, not words. Reports came in from far systems. Other planets had started receiving SID, well, small ones, unclear, but the energy signature matched Ithran tech. The swarm was moving, and Earth was now the enemy they feared. Vera called a meeting with the Galactic Council. It was the first time in history that Earth was not the one asking for help. It was the one giving it. Representatives from 24 worlds gathered in hologram form. They bowed to the Valari Queen, but when Vera entered the chamber, they all stood in silence. She walked slowly to the center and spoke. You all saw what happened here. You saw what they are capable of. You saw what they did to Valari Prime. And you know, they are not finished. Murmurs filled the chamber. Vera raised her voice, steady and cold. We can wait until they come again. One world at a time. One scream at a time. Or we can stand together. And we can fight back. One of the council members, a tall, green-skinned diplomat from the planet Zerowin, said. You want war, human? Vera stared directly at him. I want survival. I want to make sure the next time they come, they find a galaxy that bites back. The room went quiet again. Then, slowly, one by one, the council members nodded. A plan was made. Fleets would unite. Weapons would be shared. Earth would lead a defense force not just to react, but to prepare, train, and strike when the time was right. Humanity, once ignored by the stars, had become their shield. Back on Valari Prime, the people rebuilt faster than anyone expected. Valari scientists and Earth engineers created new machines hybrids of human tech and ancient energy systems. The Guardians were repaired. The ground defense grid expanded. Earth's AI worked with Valari minds, building faster than light beacons to warn other systems. They called it the Skyline Protocol, a chain of signals that could alert the entire galaxy within seconds if the Ithran returned. But behind all the action, there was still one truth. No one knew where the Ithran had gone. No one knew what they were truly planning, only that the warning signal sent from the mothership before its destruction had traveled far, and it had been heard. One night, alone in her quarters, aboard the EDS Hammerfall, Vera stood at the window, staring at the stars. So many lights, so many silent worlds. She thought of all the ones that might be next. Then, the door chimed. It was Lieutenant Naya. She held a data pad. Commander, you should see this. Vera took the pad and looked at the screen. A message raw, coded, but now translated. Not from the Ithran, from another galaxy. It said, we saw your light. We heard your fire, and now we are coming too. Vera stared at the words. More Ithran. Naya shook her head. No, something else. We don't know yet. Vera closed the pad. Her voice was quiet. Then we get ready. She turned back to the stars. We lit a fire. And now the universe is awake. From that day, Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a fortress, a name whispered with fear by enemies, a beacon for those who were weak. And when darkness moved again, the galaxy knew what would happen. Earth would answer, with fleets, with fury, with fire, It would never stand alone again. The sky exploded. As the Etheron mothership approached, the stars above Valari Prime were no longer peaceful. They were filled with fire, noise, and light. Thousands of enemy ships broke away from the dark mass and rushed toward the planet like a black wave. Earth's fleet met them head-on. The EDS Lionheart fired its main cannon, sending a beam of pure energy through 3 enemy cruisers. The Hammerfall deployed hundreds of drone fighters, each one small, fast, deployed, and armed with weapons Earth had never shared with the rest of the galaxy. These weren't just machines. Strome was guided by advanced AI trained in Earth's past wars. The battle above was fierce. The Etheron swarm moved like insects, but smarter. They swarmed, surrounded, and sacrificed themselves just to weaken Earth's shields. But they didn't seem afraid. They didn't retreat. They just kept coming. On the surface of Valari Prime, the fight was just as intense. Valari warriors, armored in glowing suits, powered by ancient tech, marched beside Earth soldiers. Giant Walker's Hoth machine, half-creature charged, across the ruined plains, firing glowing blasts into the sky. Behind them, humans and aliens worked together to reload, repair, and rescue. Commander Vera stood at the front lines, her armor blackened by smoke and her rifle glowing red from heat. She gave no speeches now. She gave orders. Direct.com. Precise. Unit 4. Push left. Guardian Squad, hold the hill. They break our line, we lose the city. The Etherean beasts had changed. They were learning. Some had shields now. Others had tentacles made of light, pulling apart machines mid-flight. One flew straight through a Valari building and exploded, taking 20 soldiers with it. Vera watched as her people fell and didn't blink. She tapped her helmet. Naya, give me something. In the mountain base, Lieutenant Naya was working. At full speed. We've activated 3 more Valari Guardians, she said, and I found something strange. The core under the Sidids, not just power. It's a weapon. Vera frowned. Explain. Fella built it long ago. A last resort. If activated, it sends out a shockwave of light pure energy. Could destroy every Etherean ship within the atmosphere. Vera's voice dropped. And what else? Naya hesitated. It could also destroy the city. Maybe the planet. Vera turned her eyes back to the sky. The mothership was lowering now. Its long arms reached toward the ground like claws. She had minutes, maybe less. We keep that option open, but only if we have no choice. The battle raged on. The mothership opened a massive bay. From it, hundreds of creatures fell biomechanical monsters, shaped like wolves, lions, serpents. They slammed into the ground and charged. Vera ran straight into them. She moved like a ghost fast, sharp, unstoppable. Her rifle clicked dry. She dropped it and drew her blade. A thin plasma sword, glowing white. One slash took down 2 creatures. A second slash saved a Valari child from a beast 3 times her size. Beside her, a Valari warrior screamed. They're endless, Vera growled back. Then so are we. Just as it seemed the line would break, something huge appeared above the ridge. The last Valari Guardiana, Titan over 100 feet tall, awakened. Its crystal eyes opened. Its arms moved with ancient purpose. It raised one glowing hand and slammed it down into the ground. The shockwave flattened 100 enemy creatures. Cheers filled the air, but it still wasn't enough. The mothership was now in low orbit. It began to charge something, a weapon, a beam, a signal. No one knew, but Vera could feel it. Something final was coming. She called the fleet, prepared to target the mothership. Every gun, everything we've got, Captain Marlowe replied from the Lionheart. It won't be enough. Cannons barely scratch it. We need that core, Vera. Vera looked around, heard the wounded, at the soldiers still standing, at the ruins they had fought so hard to protect. Then she said, quietly, Naya, how long to charge the core weapon? 3 minutes. Do it. Everyone froze. Even the Valari queen on the nearby hill closed her eyes in sadness. Vera didn't explain. She didn't apologize. She simply turned to her troops and said, fall back. Get as many people out of the city as you can. We're lighting the sky. Her team obeyed. Some cried. Some stayed silent. All moved fast. Naya worked quickly, her fingers dancing across glowing keys. Deep below the mountain, ancient machines groaned and hummed to life. The mothership fired. A black beam fell toward the city, slow, steady, terrifying. And then the core activated. A sphere of white light burst from the ground. It grew fast, faster than sound. It swallowed the city, the mountain, the sky. The Ethereal beam vanished. So did the mothership. In space, Earth's fleet pulled back, blinded by the flash. When the light faded, the mothership was gone. The enemy swarm had stopped. Silence returned to Valari Prime. Smoke rose from what was once a city. The earth was scarred. The skies were gray. And from the rubble, a broken but standing figure emerged, Commander Vera. Her armor cracked, her eyes burning with fire. Tia so had hundreds of others. And above them, Earth's ships circled like silent guardians. The enemy had been stopped for now, but this wasn't the end. Vera looked to the stars and whispered, if they come again, we'll be ready. Smoke still rose from the ruins of Valari Prime. The sky was quiet now. No more enemy ships. No more black beams. Just the soft wind blowing across the shattered remains of the city once called the Heart of Light. Commander Vera stood on a hill of broken stone, staring down at what was left. Her armor was cracked and burned. Her helmet was gone. Tame blood ran from a cut on her forehead, but she didn't notice it. She was too focused on what she said, what she didn't. The Ethereal mothership was gone. The swarm had vanished after the core weapon fired. Earth's fleet reported no more contacts, no more movement. The danger had passed, for now, but not without a cost. Thousands were dead, both Valari and human. Half the mountain base had been destroyed in the blast. 1/3 of Earth's warships had taken heavy damage. The EDS Titanfall was gone. It had stayed in orbit during the blast, taking the full shockwave to protect the Lionheart. Captain Marlowe's last words had been, hold the line, Commander. Finish this. She had. But now, the silence was louder than the battle. Avella Queen was still alive, but weak. She sat near a cracked stone pillar, guarded by her people. When Vera approached, the Queen looked up and offered a tired smile. You saved us, she said softly, at great cost. Vera didn't smile back. We survived. That's not the same as winning. The Queen nodded. Sometimes, surviving is the victory. Nearby, Lieutenant Darnell read off names from a listed names of the fallen. Some were friends, some were strangers. But each name left a scar. You should rest, he told Vera. I'll rest when the war is over, she replied. Back at the temporary command center, Earth's engineers worked quickly to repair communications. The Valari Tequance, too old or strange, was now mixed with human systems. A new kind of power flowed through the cables and panels. Something hybrid. Something stronger. Lieutenant Naya worked at a screen, analyzing the final readings from the Ethereal mothership before it was destroyed. She frowned. There was something strange, she said. Just before the core weapon hit, the mothership sent a signal. Darnell leaned in. To who? Naya shook her head. We don't know. It wasn't in any known language, not even math, just a pulse, like a warning. Vera stepped closer. Play it. Kanya pressed a button. The room filled with a deep, low hum. It sounded ancient, like thunder from a forgotten time. Everyone stopped to listen. Then it ended. No words, no images, just that hum. And somehow, it felt worse than all the screaming, all the fighting. What if we just told them we exist? Darnell asked. Vera nodded slowly. Though we didn't kill them, we got their attention. Later that day, rescue teams recovered more survivors. Children, soldiers, even a few broken Aetheron machines. Dead bodies still warm from life. Scientists began to study them carefully, fearfully. The Valari began to rebuild, slowly, together with human engineers. They cleared the rubble, built shelters, and laid the dead to rest. For the first time in their history, they were not alone. At a gathering in the main square, what was left of it, Vera stood beside the Queen. Together, they faced a crowd of survivors, both human and Valari. The Queen spoke first. You came when we cried for help. You brought fire. You brought pain. But you also brought hope. She turned to Vera. And now, Earth has earned a place among the stars, not as a student, not as a servant, but as a protector. The crowd clapped. Some wept. Vera only said one thing. If the Aetheron return, Earth will be ready. Later that night, Vera sat alone on a stone bench, looking at the stars. They looked the same as before. Cold, silent, beautiful. But she knew better now. Not all stars meant peace. Some stars were watching. Her communicator buzzed. Commander? Vera, a voice said. High Command wants a report. She didn't answer at first. She looked at the stars again. Then she said, tell them the mission is done. Tell them, Earth answered the call. She paused. And tell them, this war is just beginning. 'Cause somewhere out there, something had heard the cry of the mothership. And it was coming. Not just for Valari. Not just for Earth. But for the whole galaxy.